ಶ್ರೀ ಗಣೇಶಾಯ ನಮಃ. ಓಂ ಶ್ರೀ ಸರಸ್ವತ್ಯೈ ನಮಃ. ಓಂ ಶ್ರೀ ಗುರುಭ್ಯೋ ನಮಃ. ಓಂ ಸಮಸ್ತಜನಕಲ್ಯಾಣೇ ನಿರತಂ ಕರುಣಾಮಯಂ ನಮಾಮಿ ಚಿನ್ಮಯಂ ದೇವಂ ಸದ್ಗುರುಂ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮವಿದ್ವರಂ ಸದ್ಗುರುಂ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮವಿದ್ವರಂ. ಓಂ ನಮೋ ಭಗವತೆ ಶ್ರೀರಮಣಾಯ. ಓಂ ನಮೋ ಭಗವತೆ ಶ್ರೀರಮಣಾಯ. ಓಂ ನಮೋ ಭಗವತೆ ಶ್ರೀರಮಣಾಯ. Hari Om. So we are studying third chapter. So the question was asked, Yavat siddhi bhavet nrunam yogasya munikunjara tavantam niyamaha kalam kim yatram upakurvate. The efforts that we put till we attain siddhi. What is siddhi? The mind becomes withdrawn and gets fixed in the self without any movement from there. Transfixed. There is no, it doesn't come out. It is fixed, rooted in the self. That's it. One vritti completely introverted and stays there in the self. It doesn't come out. Like a bee, when drinking the honey, it enjoys. It doesn't remember anything. Similarly, the gaze gets fixed. So, till that is achieved, all the niyamas are useful. No doubt about it. But these prayatna, what all practices we do, they get dissolved by themselves. We don't have to drop them. They get dissolved. As my power, the thought to sleep, it becomes deep-rooted and I want nothing but sleep. Not automatically the external world gets dropped. I don't have to drop. It gets dropped from my awareness completely. So all these things, they fall off. But till then, we achieve that state, these benefit practices are useful. Having said this, another question is asked by Devarata. Verse number 9, third chapter. Kevalena vimarshena sthirena nirupadhina yatha siddhistatha mantraihi japtai siddhir bhavennava. Kevalena vimarshena sthirena nirupadhina yatha siddhistata mantraihi japtai siddhir bhavennava. This is the question. Now, he says, very important, beautiful question he asked. Said, Kevalena vimarshena sthirena nirupadhina vimarshena. Sthirena nirupadhina vimarshena. Kevalena. Now, what is Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi's vichara? we don't have to do anything except we don't have to have any instrument, japamala, upadhi, support is not there. In Shuddha Jnana Marga, there is no support. No support of anything. Therefore, kevalena, without any support. No support of mantra, support of nothing, no support of anything. So, kevalena, nirupadhina, without any support. One is totally abided in vimarshena, kevalena, sthirena, firmly abided in deliberations of the self. The thinking about. So I don't to think about Atma Chintan, we don't need anything. Because any support that you wanted to create in the mind is actually disturbing the mind. Where that is the highest stage I am talking. Don't follow this method now. Because our mind is not there first of all. Till we collect the mind and make it turn within, then place it on the self and fix it, we need external support. Suppose you say, oh, think on the self. Where is the mind first? If mind is there, then I can introvert it, turn it within, then I can contemplate. The mind itself is not available right now. It is available in the road. So this thought is after prayatna. I say that's why the previous shloka, effort is required. So the question is asking, now, Nirupadhina, Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi's path, that without any support, only kevala through Atma Vichara, a self-inquiry, through self-inquiry, one is abiding in one's own self, deliberations, or deep inquiry into self, yatha siddhihi. By this method, whatever siddhi is attained. Siddhi means the mind accomplishment. What is accomplishment? Mind, the thought is withdrawn and focusing only on Atma, the presence. That's it. There it fixed. That's it. But we have plenty of vasanas, Vasanas are plenty. So they push out. They don't let us keep quiet. Even if you want to meditate, Vasana will throw you out. You want to go inside, Vasana will throw us out. Because too many Vasanas are there. It is like a airtight wall. Even air cannot enter into it. So you cannot even navigate through Vasanas at least. No. So as the Vasana pressure is reduced on the buddhi and the relative mental thoughts agitations are reduced, then outer activities, selfish activities are all reduced. Then a little room is available for me to meditate and try to do little effort in turning within and placing the mind on that self. Because Vasana pressure is reduced, so I am able to little focus and navigate through the Vasanas, if I can use that word. Pressure is reduced. So I am able to contemplate. So through that Atma Vichara, self-inquiry without any support, firmly, sthirena, vimarshena, kevalena, only Atma Vichara, without any support. No mantra, no upasana, no tantra, no support, nothing. Only if the presence is there, I focus on that, the self, consciousness. whatever yatha siddhi bhavet, so whatever siddhi is attained by this method, same way can siddhi be acquired through mantra japa. Mantraihi japtaihi siddhi bhavet nava bhavet. By mantra japa, will one be able to attain same atma vichara, self-inquiry, deliberation? By mantra japa, is there any that possibility is there or not? There's a question. So Bhagavan, see nirupathina kevalena sthirena vimarshena prag uktena, whatever I said before, as said before, kevalena vimarshena nirupathina, without any support, niralamba upasanena, no alambanam, no support. We are now crippled, so we need all kind of stretches required. Or time is required, asana is required, direction is dik, desha, kala, we are dependent. Early morning only we should do meditation. That is conditioned by time. In this place only I must do meditation. जब मैं बद्रीनाथ जाता हूँ ना, वहाँ मन लग जाता है. Conditioned by space. And big desha, direction. Oh, I always turn towards east only or north only. So conditioned by. So which is east in your house? This way. Oh, this way I will turn and do my meditation. That's why I asked. Conditioned by. Plus support. You have a cushion. Not so too high, too low. Nati acche, all that kela, te, chela, jana, kushottaram. Not too high, not too low. So Krishna said, these are all support. But this man, Ramana Maharshi's path is to sit and no demands. Like for example, a person who is extremely tired, he will sleep anywhere. He doesn't need even hot sun in deep sleep. Have you not seen such people? Hot sun. But he's so tired, his sun and heat also is not aware. He just went into deep sleep. Under a tree, slept. On the floor, slept. Unenviable position, he sleeps. For us, AC, bed, preparation for sleep. नींद की तैयारी कर रही हूँ. We don't work. Our mind withdrawn, not withdrawn. Therefore, he says, niralamba upasanena yatha siddhi bhavati ya siddhi atmaswarupa vitti rupa bhavati. That siddhi which is of the nature of the self alone, which is discovering the nature of the self ultimately. Tatha siddhi japtaihi mantraihi bhavet nava bhavet. That kind of a siddhi by mantra japa, is it attained or not? Ya sa siddhi mantra japaihi bhavet va na bhave iti prashnaha. That is the question. Tantra Shastreshu mantra visheshanam purascharanasya kvachid atmajnanam moksho va phalasrutir bhavati. Tasmat mantra japaha devata prasadadvara va atmaswarupanishtham sadhayet va nava iti pruchati. That is the meaning. In Tantra Shastras are given, Mantra Shastras are given. What did they say? You do continuous japa through mantra japa, purascharanasya. Purascharana, repetition of mantra, sankalpa. 1 lakh, 2 lakh, 1 crore. Purascharanasya, kachid, atmajnanam, mokshova, palasruti bhavati. What is the palasruti? Atmajnanam, moksha, Atmajnana is moksha. Ultimately, you will get. It is a palasruti given in mantra shastras. You do this japa for so many times with nishtha, you will realize the self. That is said. Palasruti bhavati. Tasmat mantra japaha devata prasada dvara. Therefore, through mantra japa or mantra japa and devata siddhi dvara va atmaswarupanishtam sadhayet va na va iti pruchati. Is it well possible to attain that atma siddhi through japa or not? This is the Prashna. Bhagavan Ramana answered this question. Because you only speak about deliberating only on nirupadhina, kevala upasana, only you speak about nirupadhina, vichara, but atma vichara. That is your marga. So high it is. So Bhagavan Vacha, he says, Achanchalena manasa mantrair japtai nirantaram siddhisyat shraddhadhananam japtena pranavena va achanchalena manasa mantrair japtair nirantaram siddhisyat shraddhadhananam japtena pranavena va. Pranava japtena va. That is pranava japam. We are doing pranava japam only. Now see. He says, Bhagavan Ramana says, three things he said. In mantra siddhi, if three things are there in mantra sadhana, japa sadhana, siddhi is possible. Otherwise, siddhi is not possible in mantra japa. So, mantra is possible. So, what is that? Bhagavan says, now see, achanchalena, first one is without any wavering. Achanchalena manasa, that mind which is not chanchal, which is not restless. What is happening in mind? I tell you why. What happens to all of us is, one, what is actually ajyadharaya srotasa samam. The continued thought flow is required, but it gets cut. The dhara gets cut. So, Om japa we do, for example. 2 times Om is focused. Om, Om. Third Om is chanted, but the mind is somewhere. So it gets cut. So our japam is not achanchala japa. It is lot of chanchala, speed breakers. Sometimes we get into service line. We leave the main road, expressway. We get into service lane. वहाँ पे चाय दुकान होती है. We cannot go straight. We get down and eat something, spend time, then again come on to expressway. So first condition is achanchalena manasa. 3 conditions are told here by Bhagavan. Then siddhi is possible. So achanchalena manasa. So chanchala rahitena sthirena iti yavat. Sthiratvam. Mantra japa. Sthira. So when you do puja, be there. And don't have mobile phone, discussions, thoughts, in between instructions to others at home. Nothing. Sthira, mind is stabilized there. Sthiratvena. Sthirena. So manasa, with that mind, japtaihi mantraihi japtena pranavena va. Japtaihi mantraihi japtena means pranavena va. Any mantra japa or pranava mantra. So see, so many Upanishads spoke about the greatness of Omkara. Om is the name of Brahman, name of Ishvara. And Dirgha Pranava Sadhana is suggested by the Upanishads and Mahatmas, where the yoga sadhana, Dirgha Pranava Upasana, will destroy all vasanas. Dirgha Pranava. Actually, in 1 hour, there's a length of the Om also, there's big science it is. Anyway, with a little bit of your mind little stabilized, we have to chant 1800 times in 1 hour, Om Japam. 1800 times. So that, not speed, the length of the Om is very shortened. Om, 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 listening to that, focusing on. For whom? For the one who has done some sadhana. But we have plenty of asanas, no? For us that won't help. For us the longer Om is required. Dirgha Pranava Ucharanena. So mantra japam you do. Pranava japam or mantra japena. Mantra Vishesha Japena, Pranava Japena va. Next one, Shraddhadhanam Japtrunam Siddhi Syat Bhavet. So second one is, so first one is Achanchalena Manasa. Achanchalena Manasa. Then Nirantaram is second one. Nirantaram means what? With mind, without any chanchalata in the mind, restless mind, without any agitations, plus constantly. There's one Mahatma I met around in the year 1999. I went for lectures there in some Karnataka and some place. There's a village. I went to Hubli, I went for lectures. From there, they took me to one Mahatma. Still there, old man now. That Mahatma, only Japam. He wears only towel type. And in the Kshetra Sannyasa, he went all over the Himalayas wandering, chanting name only. And ultimately, every cell of the body vibrates to the mantra only. Constantly his lips keep on moving. बात करते रहते हैं फिर भी अंदर चलता रहता है मंत्र. और गोंदवलेकर महाराज in Maharashtra. Gondavale is a village. निरंतर जपा. But with what? With Shraddha. So first one is Achanchalena Manasa. Nirantaram. Third is Shraddha. 3 factors Bhagavan said. Faith, love for the Lord. Shraddha. That yes, I am calling the Lord. Lord is listening. So that is the difference between Mirabai and ordinary people who do japa for the sake of doing japa for sentimental problems. They are sentimental. They become sentimental. Oh, I did not do japa. कितने माला के आज 10 करना था 2 ही हुआ 8 फिरा देंगे फटाफट. Stupidity it is. At least that bhava is not there. Bhava is not there. Shraddha is not there. Therefore he says, Atra idamuktam bhavati. What is that? Tatra tavat santi siddhihi vidhayakaha kechana niyamaha yaihi vina mantra japtahi siddhisyat. So some conditions are again without which mantra siddhi is not possible. What is that? Techa ime bhavanti. First one, achanchalam syat manaha yena mantra japyate. One who is chanting the mantra, mind should be achanchal. So that's why, how to make mind achanchal? See, the mind is capacity is, it will simultaneously, the mind can do many tasks. So one part of the mind is doing japa, major part of the mind is running around. So how do we arrest that part also which is running? Why it runs? We don't have love for the Lord. If the love is there, the object of love seeks our total attention, draws our total attention. I have love object, I love some Bhagavan. So then automatically whole my mind gets attracted towards that object of love. Like one child in the house, whole family gets attached to that child. Hours together they spend time with the child only. Child does nothing. Kutta hai, baat ka hai, idhar udhar. But that's enough. Why? We love the child. So hours are spent without any deviation. Why? The child we love. So automatically mind gets tuned. As long as we don't have love for the Lord, so japa we do mechanically, and in between mind goes here and there. Siddhi na bhavati. First one. Japasyapi nairantaryam syat. Second one. This japam also should be done nirantar. That right, Mahatmas, many Mahatmas, constantly the background, that mantra japa goes on. Then third, japtuhu purushasya japena siddhihi avashyam bhavini iti shraddha varteta. See, japtu purushasya japena siddhi avashyam bhavini iti shraddha varteta. So shraddha is the third factor. The shraddha is there, automatically the siddhi will take place. So three conditions. Achanchalena manasa, nairantaryena, plus shraddhaya. These three factors, evam manaha naishchalya japa nairantarya japtru shraddhabhihi vishishtena mantrasya pranavasya vasadhanena siddhehe nishpattihi na anyatha iti bhavaha. Then only siddhi will take place in mantra japa, otherwise it does not take place siddhi. These are the conditions in mantra japa. Then you will get siddhi. See, Bhagavan on mercy. But there is effort, there is a thing. So if you are qualified for self-enquiry, the support is also not required. Like mantra japa karna hai. That also is a prayasa. That is not required. So siddhi syat shraddhadhanam japtena pranavena va. Pranavopasana also you do, or any mantra japa you do, eventually you will get siddhi. But three conditions are necessary. Achanchalena manasa nairantaryena shraddhaya kurvita. This is what Ramana Maharshi answered. Then he says, Bhagavan says again, is culminating now. Bhagavan demonstrates now. He gives us final thought in this episode of this third chapter, which is very dear to him. What is very dear to him? Atma Vichara. Atma Vichara is very dear to him. I tell you one interesting thing. One of our Swamis in Chinmaya Mission, he is a great japa. He does huge number of times japa. For about 10,000 times or 15,000, 11,000 times every day he does japa. Right? Some years, Mahasadhana. Great sadhak he is, tapasvi. And twice in a year, he disappears from the Chinmaya Mission Center. Phone is off. No one knows where he goes. No one. No one means no one. President, Mission Secretary, or Swarupananji, or Guruji, no one knows. Cut off. So, and where does he go? Without money he goes. अपना थैली उठाया चला गया. And he told me, many times he told me after the, उस गांव में रहा, अज्ञानी व्यक्ति, अनजान जैसे, कहाँ ठहरे थे? पेड़ के नीचे, बहुत मजा आया. फिर खाना, बैठ गए एक दिन, भगवान का नाम लेते लेते गांव वाले आ गए, एक अम्मा ने खिलाए. तो जो एक ही बार खाता था, बस पानी वहीं पे मिलता है, वहीं बाहर गए. और one day what he did, in a temple, underground there is a room. He went inside. And only Pujari knew, I think, because he knew, there is a shut up, you should not tell. हम बताएंगे नहीं स्वामी जी, आप तो नीचे करिए. 10 दिन तक only early morning 3 o'clock he would come out and take to the bath and shower and all. Again go back inside. Before the people rise and give. And he told me, पहले दिन है ना, lot of cockroaches under that. There is no nothing. गर्मी लगती है, कुछ भी नहीं है वहाँ पे. फैंका किंका, तो किताब लेके बैठ जाते थे, थोड़ा ये कैंडल लेके चला के तपस्या करते. तो पहले दिन बहुत सारे कुछ कीड़े कीड़े या कॉकरोचेस और समथिंग आर देयर. तो पहला दिन बोल रहे, मैं कॉकरोच को पकड़ के बाहर रात को लाके छोड़ता था. पहला दिन यही काम किया. फिर बाद में नो वन नोज. ओनली व्हेन ही प्रकट हो जाता है बाद में 10 days के बाद, he does that sadhana. And what I want to tell you, he would chant a big mantra. For one day he thought, who started doing this japa? I only did, no? So why should I chant Sri Ram Jai Ram, for example, I'm giving you. Sri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram, Sri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. इतना बड़ा मंत्र कोई मैंने लिया ना. Why can't I reduce it? This much suffering unnecessarily, big mantra chanting. Then he started Sri Ram, Sri Ram. Then afterward, Sri भी जरूर नहीं है. Ram, Ram. It does heavy sadhana. Think. We are very close, so he tells many things. मजा आता है साधना कैसे किया. स्वामी जी कैसा हुआ साधना आपका? ये मैं उधर गया, ऐसा क्या, इधर रहा, बाबा इस जगह पे, हाँ मजा आया. एक जहाँ मैं पहाड़ के ऊपर बैठ गया, गाय वाला के कोई आता, दूध वाला दूध पिलाया सबका, पहाड़ के ऊपर एक गांव में. He only reduces sadhana. So as you grow, mind becomes calm and quiet, and ultimately you will inquire. Everything is not required. Ultimately, only the focus on the presence, the self I am. I am aware. That awareness is always there. I am aware of my awareness. A great master says, aware of awareness. And so object is my awareness. Object of awareness, that is, object is awareness. One who is aware of the me is also awareness. And ultimately, these two merge into singularity. There is nothing sadhana there. Nirupadhina, niralambana sadhana it is. So the ultimately final inquiry, Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi, he concludes in this chapter. See, Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi, he demonstrates. His final thought is giving culmination. He gives direct sadhana, which is very near to him. See the commentary. Adya japena swaswarupa avasthana prakara muktva swa abhimata sakshat sadhane tasya paryavasanam upapadayati Bhagavan Maharshihi. He is a very close, real sadhana. Ultimately, he gives his sadhana. Ultimately, abidance. In abidance, drop everything. He says, Vrittirjapena mantranam Shuddhasya pranavasya va Vishayebhyah paravritta Swaswarupatmika bhavet Vrittirjapena mantranam Shuddhasya pranavasya va Vishayebhyah paravritta Swaswarupatmika bhavet. Beautiful thing. Ultimately Bhagavan says, no, see, what is that now? Vrittirjapena mantranam. By the japa or pranava japa alone. Shuddhasya pranavasya. What we are doing? Shuddha pranava. Meaning, not Om Namah Shivaya, Om Sri Krishna, nothing. Om. That's it. Shuddha pranavopasana. Or any other japa. See, here, mantranam japena shuddhasya kevalasya pranavasya omkarasya japena va. Either you do omkara japa or any other japa, mantra japa you do, sadhanena, what happens? Vishayebhyaha drushyebhyaha paravritta vinivritta vrittihi chitta vrittihi. First one. So what happens? When constantly doing this japa, what are the conditions? 3 conditions. Nirantaram, Shraddhaya, Achanchalena manasa. 3 conditions should not be forgotten. Or else बोलते अरे मैं बहुत साल से जब करते हैं कुछ होता नहीं, होगा भी नहीं. Think. Only frustration comes. Gurudev says the beads will shrink in size and become smooth, very smooth. So much japa you did, each bead became very smooth and smoothened, and size also reduced. But you are there as it is. There is no change in me. Beads have changed. हम वैसे के वैसे बैठे हैं. Gurudev is a Mahapurusha. Mahapurusha. You don't know, my God. Once Gurudev was sitting in Mumbai, sadhana, Sandipni sadhana. Me and some other member, devotee, a great devotee of Gurudev. He was a bachelor, architect. So we went to Mumbai, of course, for some work, and Gurudev sat in his room, and then one by one going inside and touching his feet and sitting on the knees and then touching his feet, bending, touching the head. One leg he gave. He was writing something. One leg bahar rakha, table ke bahar. One leg, right leg is outside for people to touch. And other leg inside, left side, and is writing busy like this, Ek bahar laga, writing. One by one was karte ja raha hai. He just was, That's it. हम भी गए, दोनों गए अंदर, पैर पकड़ा, तो बोलते ऐसे. And that our gentleman, he gave big mala. Both of us went. So Rudraksha mala he gave. So he said, we brought from Haridwar, please initiate and give. So what did Gurudev do? So he took the mala like this, closed his eyes, like this went little bit, old one, doesn't matter, steam is still inside. He touched and came to know that this was purchased 1 year ago. And he was waiting to get initiated by Gurudev. मिला नहीं, मिलना कहाँ होता, घूमते रहते गुरुदेव. Once in a year only we get a chance to meet somewhere. Old one, doesn't matter, steam is still inside. And he put around his neck. So I didn't understand, I looked at him. You bhi has rahe the. Gurudev gave and he patted me and then, okay, whatever, we just. पता लगता है गुरुदेव को, भाई ये तो ओल्ड वन यार उनके लिए रखा है, गुरुदेव के लिए बड़ा डब्बा में रखा मैं घर में, इसलिए ही सेट ओल्ड वन. महापुरुष, माय गॉड, their consciousness is something different. They are actually living in a different dimension of consciousness. So, here he says very beautiful thing. Any japa you do, what happens? Vishayebhya paravritta bhavati, chitta vritti. Whatever japa you do with these three conditions, Shuddha Pranava or any mantra japa, mind is withdrawn from the sense objects. It gets withdrawn. That is the power of mantra. See, very beautiful thing. When we do mantra, how mantra works, how it happens, Swamiji, don't ask. Gurudev would say, don't ask all these questions. Why? Is it necessary for you to know the composition of a medicine when doctor gives? Doctor gave a tablet. Doctor Sahab, what is the composition of the medicine and what it contains, what is its action and how does it, none of your business. Take the tablet 3 times a day, 2 days, you are up from the bed, full stop. We don't need to know all these things. How mantra works. So mantra japa with these 3 conditions. When we do achanchalena, Narantarya, then Nirantaram, then Shraddhaya. When we do this, Pravritta bhavati, then what happens? Swaswarupnitmika, Swatmakara bhavet. That's beautiful. That the japa slowly withdraws the outer world, mind withdrawn, and ultimately it transforms itself into self. The mind is absorbed completely and it swatmakara bhavet. So each thought rolls back and merges into I thought. But from I thought only all other thoughts came. See, behind every thought, I thought is there. Without aham vritti, where is idam vritti? Idam vritti means this idea. So, aham vritti is there. Only aham vritti ke baad hi idam vritti hota hai. Idam vritti hoti hai. So, I am there aham vritti, idam vritti hui hai. If I am not there, where is idam vritti? This is book. Possible only because I am there. I thought is there. When I thought is not there, there is no idam vritti also. In deep sleep state, there is no I thought. There is no idam vritti. Now in japa, what is happening? Wonderfully, when we do constantly this kind of japa, nirantaram. So, every thought rolls back because mind is withdrawn from the external objects. Automatically it gets withdrawn. That is the power of the mantra. You know, in Telugu we give beautiful example is given. नीम के पत्ते खाते जाओ मीठी लगती है. नीम के पत्ते खाओ. One day it happens, it is very sweet for you. It is no more bitter. You can enjoy. Why so? I don't know. I never tasted. But people say, even drink also, alcoholic drink, not so tasty. It's like a kheer. I never tasted, I don't know, of course. But people बोलते हैं मुझे, समझ जी, पी के बोलते हैं कड़वा है, तो कोई पी क्यों रहा फिर? दिमाग सड़ गया? इतने कड़वा है तो क्यों पीना है? टू सब्स्टिट्यूट नमकीन खाते हैं साथ साथ. लोग बोलते मुझे तो आई डोंट हैव एनी हैबिट बाबा, मैं लिया भी नहीं, कभी लेना भी नहीं चाहता हूं. बट उसको मीठी लगती है, पी पी के. भगवान का नाम भी ऐसे होता है, विथ 3 कंडीशंस. ये बोलना नहीं, अचंचलेन नैरंतर्येण श्रद्धया. Therefore, he says every thought is withdrawn by the mantra japa and it goes back to its source. What is its source? First, ahamvritti. So all the thoughts of highly concentrated thoughts go back. So there is no worldly thought or distractive thoughts. All thoughts are withdrawn because the power of the name of the Lord pulls all the thoughts from the external love. Because okay, fundamental question I'll ask you. Why is that mind is going running around? For happiness, for joy. Once I discover there is a greater joy in Bhagwan's name, automatically there is no thought for Rasagulla, no thought for drink, no thought for going around, no thought for objects, enjoyment, enjoying sense objects, all get dropped. Why? I discovered the name of the Lord is sweeter than any other thing. Then what happens? With these 3 conditions, again and again I am telling you, 3 conditions. So when the mind gets withdrawn completely, every thought, distractive thought is withdrawn. So there is no other thought left now. No worldly thought is left. No other distractive thoughts are left. All are withdrawn. Why? Because the support of all the thoughts is I. I thought, no. That I thought is withdrawn. Something like the foundation is taken out. Whole building structure collapses. That I thought is started doing the meditation. That ego, I want to be happy. So I started taking mantra Bhagavan ka naam. All other thoughts are withdrawn. By the support of all other thoughts is I thought. And that I thought is engaged in contemplating or inquiry on the self or Bhagavan ka naam, the ego, the jiva, the I thought. And then what happens? All the thoughts are withdrawn, mind is withdrawn from all the thoughts, and because support is I thought, for all the thoughts, support is I thought, and I thought itself is collapsed into self. Ultimately, what is happening? All the things merge back into you, and everything is mantra becomes itself, takes the form of one's own self. So the pranava japa, mantra becomes your own, takes the form of your own self. Swatmakara bhavet. There is no difference between the name of the Lord and because the name of the Lord is so powerful, mantra japa, it goes to the, ultimately the I is withdrawn, I thought is withdrawn, merged into self. Ultimately it takes the self, form of your own self. Swatmakara bhavet. Chitta vrittehi ekagratayam siddhayam Vigata vikshepayaha tabhyaha swamula kshetra eva avasthitihi upapajyate. Therefore, chitta vrittehi ekagratayam siddhayam, when all the chitta vrittis attained high concentration, vigata vikshepayaha, without any distractions, vigata vikshepayaha tasyaha, all those thoughts, swamula kshetra eva avasthitihi upapajyate. What is the Mola Kshetra? I thought. What is the Mola for I thought? Atma. Ultimately, all the thoughts goes, and ultimately the mantra japa becomes the nature of your own self. Atayeva swaswarupa atmika bhavet iti uktam. Therefore, all these mantra japa when we do, mind is withdrawn and ultimately settles itself, and that itself becomes the nature of your own self. Meaning that alone exists, everything is withdrawn. Everything is dissolved, not withdrawn. Everything is dissolved. I is dissolved. For all other thoughts, for every thought, I thought is foundation. That I thought is introverted, enjoying the name of the Lord. All thoughts collapse. Support is taken out. And this I thought merges and becomes the nature of self alone. It is dissolved. So Bhagavan says, ultimately this is the sadhana. Ultimately Bhagavan, what did he say? Even mantra japa you do, ultimately it will, the process is what? I thought to dissolution of the I thought and become your own self. Then I exist as pure consciousness. I'm not having the body at that time, mind, intellect, nothing. I just am the presence. I discover I am that presence. I'm all pervading presence because there are no upadhis, limited edgings, nothing to limit me. I am that eternal, I become eternal consciousness. That experience, that ultimately you awaken to that dimension of consciousness, not intellectually. Not this logic and too much of Shastra Vasana is very biggest stumbling block. Too much of Shastra Vasana. Loka Vasana, Shastra Vasana, Deha Vasana. Shankaracharya speaks about all these Vasanas. Deha Vasana, Loka Vasana, Shastra Vasana. These are the problems. So, Isha Putra Shake, Shaila Bhomi Nandadhara Mite. Bhumi Nandadhara Mite. Saptame Soyam. Samvado Bhavadadbhutaha. So, in the 1917, 7th day of July 7th. So, 7th day of 7th month. Saptame. So, 7th day, 7th July 1917, this beautiful discussion took place. Who reported? Kavyakanta Ganapati Muni. A beautiful discussion took place between Devarata and Bhagwan Ramana Maharshi on this day. So when the Bhagwan Ramana Maharshi's 1917 means what? He was only 37 years old. Not even 37. Yeah, 37 years old. Exactly, that's completed. Okay. Ramana Maharshi. So this is the Iti Sri Ramana Gita Su Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Ramanante Vasino Vasishtasya Ganapate Uparibhande Mukhya Kartavya Nirupanam Nama Tritiyodhyaya Sampurnam. Om Purnamata Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti. Harihi Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om Sadgurunath Maharaj Ki Jai.